Hello and welcome to the journey of exploring the subtle mysteries of nature. Tonight, I invite you to step with me into a world where science and art converge, where every spiral in a sunflower, every branch reaching upward, or every fluffy cloud tells a hidden story. We will together examine the exquisite patterns that nature creates to understand the subtle codes that the universe sends. If you want to explore deeper and not miss any magical detail, press subscribe and follow the channel until the end of the video, because the most wonderful things are still waiting for us ahead. When we step into the natural world with curious eyes, a flower or a leaf is not just a static object. They are vivid stories told through mathematics, physics, and biology. Let's start with a sunflower, something you may have seen but never truly looked at. When you look into its center, you will notice that the seeds are not arranged randomly. They follow a subtle rule called the Fibonacci sequence, where each number in the series is the sum of the two preceding numbers 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on. This seemingly simple sequence is the key to unlocking the hidden geometric mysteries in nature, from the spirals of sunflower seeds to the shapes of pine cones, pineapples, and tree branches. With a slow perspective, you will notice that each seed in the sunflower's center is arranged at an angle of approximately 137.5 degrees, also called the golden angle, which optimizes space without overcrowding. If you try to imagine placing each tiny dot around a circle, each dot offset by 137.5 degrees from the previous one, the result is a continuous spiral, non-repeating, yet filling the entire space harmoniously. This is why sunflowers possess such an uncanny perfect beauty. That beauty is not random, but the result of natural optimization, where each seed finds the best position to survive and grow. The miracle is this optimization is not just about order or aesthetics. It reflects a core principle in nature. Nature operates in the most efficient way possible. Sunflowers, pine trees, or even ferns do not know about mathematics or art. They simply follow biological and physical laws, and when environmental factors align, order emerges naturally. The Fibonacci sequence and the golden angle are not goals. They are the results of nature seeking optimal solutions for life. If you have ever observed a fern closely, you will see that each large leaf is composed of smaller leaves, and those smaller leaves are further made up of even smaller versions. This is a classic example of a fractal, where a pattern repeats itself at multiple levels. This repetition not only creates beauty, but also reflects efficiency in growth and in absorbing sunlight, water, and nutrients. When you look deeper, you will realize fractals appear everywhere, from the waves on the beach to the shape of Romanesco cauliflower, from tree branches to circulatory patterns in living organisms. The story of fractals is not merely mathematics. It is also evidence of the harmony between order and chaos. When a mathematician or nature lover looks at these patterns, they do not just see infinite repetition, but also perceive a hidden rhythm, a rhythm to which we ourselves are sensitive. Your heartbeat follows a rhythm, your breathing is steady, and the cells in your body operate in biological cycles. Fractals are how nature reflects this harmony into the visible world, from tiny seeds to vast systems like galaxies. Returning to the sunflower, you can try counting the spirals clockwise and counterclockwise. You will often find Fibonacci numbers 34, 55, 89, 144. These numbers are not mere coincidences. They are living evidence of how nature optimizes packing, distribution, and growth. Similarly, pine cones, pineapples, and even stars in spiral galaxies exhibit similar numerical patterns. This makes us wonder, does the universe follow some profound mathematical rhythm? While the answer remains unclear, the repeated appearance of these patterns sparks curiosity and a sense of peace for anyone willing to observe. It is important to note that beauty in nature is not always perfect in the way humans expect. Not every spiral, every shape you see is exactly according to the Fibonacci sequence or the golden ratio. Nature does not require recognition or validation, it simply operates. But it is precisely because of this that patterns appear frequently enough for us to notice an order, a subtle structure, as a gentle reminder that everything has its own place and purpose. Each seed, each petal, each leaf has its role, and when they operate naturally, they create a landscape that is both stunning and unexpectedly efficient. As you begin to recognize these patterns, you may also see them in everyday life, from the way trees grow next to each other, sunlight filtering through leaves, to the arrangement of flowers in a garden or the rhythm of clouds drifting across the sky. All of this reminds us of a profound truth. Beauty is not merely random, it is the result of quietly operating natural laws. And in this moment, as you observe and notice these hidden patterns, you are also participating in a journey of learning to flow with the rhythm of nature, appreciating every detail, and feeling peace even amidst surrounding chaos. Finally, it is this subtle rhythm and order that has inspired scientific discoveries, artistic designs, and even the way we experience sleep and relaxation. As you immerse yourself in spirals, fractals, and the Fibonacci sequence, you are not just learning about nature, you are learning how to observe, how to feel, and how to harmonize with the rhythm of life around you. Remember, all of this is freely available for your contemplation. And it is also why pressing subscribe and following the video will help you not miss the next secrets, the subtle stories that nature has always been telling. As we continue to explore the world of fractals and chaos, we will see that these shapes and patterns do not exist only in static matter, but also permeate every movement and living process. Let's return to the image of a cloud. Each curl, each tiny filament, all seem to be arranged randomly. But upon close observation, you will notice that they follow a natural order, a self-repeating shape at multiple levels. This is the fundamental characteristic of fractals. The more you magnify the detail, the more the shape resembles the original structure. And this applies not only to clouds drifting lazily across the sky, but also to mountains, coastlines, and even winding rivers. The remarkable thing about fractals is their ability to model complexity that traditional geometric methods struggle to capture. Every tree branch, every twig, even the blood vessels in the human body, appears according to repeating branching rules, both precise and diverse. This structure not only creates visual beauty but also optimizes function. Take a tree, for example. A large branch splits into smaller branches, and those smaller branches divide into even smaller ones. The angles, distances, and lengths may vary, but the overall structure retains self-similarity, allowing the tree to maximize sunlight absorption, expand leaf area, and use nutrients efficiently. This is geometric evolution at work, where nature operates like a patient artisan, step by step, to achieve maximum efficiency. If your lungs are a living example of fractals, they demonstrate the marvel of biological design. The lungs are not two simple balloons, but a continuously branching system, ending in millions of alveoli, where oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange occurs. The total surface area, if spread flat, could be equivalent to a tennis court, all contained within the chest cavity. Similarly, your heartbeat also exhibits fractal patterns, neither perfectly regular nor entirely chaotic. A healthy heart oscillates in a complex pattern, balancing order and fluctuation, much like clouds, coastlines, or trees. Too regular is abnormal, too chaotic is dangerous, and it is this balance that generates vitality and subtle beauty. Fractal shapes are not confined to the biological world. Since the 1960s, scientists began recognizing that fractals also appear in nonlinear, complex systems like weather. Edward Lorenz, while running a simple meteorological simulation, accidentally discovered the butterfly effect. A small error in data, such as rounding a decimal, led to completely different results, illustrating that in complex systems, small changes can cause large impacts. This does not mean the universe is random. Rather, it is highly sensitive to initial conditions. The complex and chaotic patterns we observe, from storms to flowing streams, follow deterministic rules, yet the outcomes are unpredictable, beautiful, and full of surprises. Consider a lightning bolt. A main branch extends from the cloud, then splits into smaller branches, continuing to branch like a living fractal. This structure is not programmed, yet it optimizes the fastest, safest path for electricity, and to our eyes, it appears completely magical. Similarly, river networks, tree roots, and vascular systems all use fractals to optimize flow from fluids to nutrients within limited space. These branches, though small, play crucial roles in sustaining life, like invisible veins connecting all living beings and the environment. Even in art and technology, fractals are widely applied. Some composers use fractal algorithms to create complex yet harmonious melodies, while visual artists design landscapes and images based on self-similar structures, from mountains and coastlines to trees. Video games and digital animation also employ fractals to simulate natural environments, providing lifelike and realistic experiences that humans instinctively recognize as beautiful and pleasing. Moreover, many traditional patterns in Africa, India, or Islamic art applied fractal principles centuries before the term was coined. Humans have long been drawn to repetition, self-similarity, and the harmonious structure that fractals provide. The wonder of fractals lies in their ability to balance order and chaos. They allow infinite detail to appear without overwhelming humans. Shapes are both predictable and surprising, both harmonious and complex, like a forest path, winding enough to spark curiosity, but clear enough to avoid getting lost. These spirals, branches, and endless details invite us to slow down, observe, and realize that the world is built from small, repeating pieces, each with its own rhythm, gentle yet steadfast. These principles also apply to chaos theory. Not every complex system is disorderly. Lorenz demonstrated that even with simple rules, small differences in input can lead to drastically different and unpredictable outcomes. Yet within that unpredictability exists a pattern, a rhythm, and sometimes a marvelous beauty. They remind us that chaos is not disorder, but sensitive order, where every detail, no matter how small, affects the whole. And that is the key point. Fractals and chaos teach us about the rhythm of the world, the connection between parts and the whole, and how nature develops complexity without a perfect blueprint. They remind us to slow down, observe carefully, and recognize that beauty, optimization, and order are always present, even in what seems most chaotic. From heartbeats to leaves to clouds to coastlines, all teach us that repetition and subtle detail create life, harmony, and comfort for the human soul. Looking at a forest, you will see life operating according to a subtle rhythm, an invisible chorus that the naked eye can hardly perceive. Every tree, from towering redwoods to small grasses, is the product of a long optimization process where mathematical rules meet biology. Branches divide, roots reach deep into the soil, leaves spiral, all reflecting a hidden logic in nature. And like any complex system, this is both repetitive and variable, orderly and chaotic. Let's begin with how a tree grows. The trunk rises, splitting into large branches, then smaller branches, twigs, and finally leaves. At the microscopic level, each branching follows rules optimizing light, energy, and materials. The angle at which a new branch emerges, typically between 38 to 45 degrees, is not random but the result of evolution. This angle balances maximum light exposure for leaves with the structural strength of the branch. If the angle is too small, leaves shade each other. If too wide, branches are too weak to support themselves. A tree, in silence, is solving a complex energy problem. The shape of leaves is also not simple. Many plant species arrange their leaves in a spiral, a principle called phyllotaxis. The rotation angle of approximately 137.5 degrees, also called the golden angle, allows sunlight to reach each leaf without being blocked by others. It is a gentle choreography where each leaf receives sunlight optimally. Every photon landing on a leaf is converted into sugar, energy for life, and the entire plant operates based on this delicate balance. But the most miraculous thing is how fractals appear at every level. A large branch looks like a smaller branch. A small branch looks like a twig. Roots underground mirror the canopy above, creating a twin pattern where every inch of soil is efficiently explored for water and nutrients. No material is wasted, no space left unused. Everything is naturally optimized. In the human body, the same logic is present. Lungs branch 23 times to maximize surface area, blood vessels extend to nourish every cell, neurons connect like branches seeking signals. Mathematics does not only live in textbooks, but flows through blood, lungs, and every tree branch. Imagine this coordination in a forest. Wind blows through the leaves, light filters down, water soaks into the roots. Each tree adjusts to the environment. Each species adapts to natural chaos. Even in seemingly minor changes like a strong wind or sudden rain, the system maintains its rhythm. This is an expression of emergent behavior. From simple rules, vibrant complexity arises. No one commands each tree, yet the entire forest harmonizes according to a profound logic. This reflects how the world operates in other chaotic systems. A small change in a pond can create entirely new wave patterns. A fish being caught or a minor storm can alter an entire ecosystem. Chaos does not mean destruction, but is the source of diversity and adaptation. like a flock of birds flying in the sky. No leader, no orders, yet they move in synchrony, creating a complex dance based on simple individual rules. Even on a cosmic scale, this principle holds. The solar system appears stable, but gravitational interactions among planets, asteroids, and meteoroids can generate chaotic orbits over time. A small change in the velocity or position of a celestial body can produce a massive ripple effect. Chaos exists not only as risk, but as an opportunity for growth and evolution. Nature harnesses complexity to form structures that are stable yet flexible. Similarly, in financial markets, a tweet, a small policy decision, or the psychology of an investor can trigger nonlinear reactions leading to extreme fluctuations. This is not irrationality, but the inevitable outcome of a complex system sensitive to initial conditions, the classic butterfly effect. And when observed carefully, it is this sensitivity and adaptability that generate liveliness and intrigue. Even in daily life, we encounter chaos more than we think. Water droplets falling in a sink, fluctuating heartbeats, a winding forest path all follow simple rules that lead to surprising and beautiful outcomes. Chaos brings rhythm, flexibility, and dynamic beauty. It is a reminder that absolute control is unnecessary and that small details can profoundly affect the whole. In trees, as in life, the combination of order and chaos creates beauty and adaptability. Trees stretch upwards to capture light, spread leaves to optimize energy, roots extend to seek water and nutrients. The entire system self adjusts, following fractal logic while incorporating the gentle randomness of the environment. No two trees are identical, yet each tells a living story, repeating natural laws but adapting to circumstances. Geometry and mathematics come alive in the very growth of trees. Branches, leaves, roots, and canopies are not merely objects, but physical expressions of optimization rules. Branching, spirals, golden angles, phyllotaxis. Every inch of growth, every water molecule, every photon of light participates in this symphony. The world, from trees to organisms, from ponds to star-filled skies, operates according to simple rules, resulting in a complex, vibrant, and astonishingly beautiful symphony. Finally, when you stand in the forest, observing swaying branches, seeing light through the canopy, feeling the rhythm of nature, you will recognize something profound. Complexity is not meaningless chaos. It is beauty, rhythm, and subtle logic in every small detail, where every element, no matter how tiny, contributes to the magnificent whole. When we observe spirals in nature, the first thing we notice is the repetition of this pattern at every scale, from the tiny chambers of a nautilus shell to the enormous spiral arms of galaxies. But the wonder lies not only in the repetition, but also in how each coil, each chamber, each curve is formed to optimize function. In the snail shell, the logarithmic spiral allows the organism to maintain perfect proportions as it grows, adding new chambers without altering the overall structure. Each old chamber is filled with gas to maintain buoyancy, while the organism lives in the outermost chamber, adjusting its position like a sophisticated but natural submarine. This growth does not require redesign at each stage of maturity. Each spiral is a chapter in an intrinsic design imprinted deeply in DNA, combining mathematics and biology perfectly. Spirals are not only present in marine organisms, they appear in the atmosphere as cyclones. From satellites, we see massive spiral clouds formed by the combination of Coriolis forces, pressure differences, and rising, moist air currents. Each spiral within a storm is living proof that fundamental physical laws can generate complex shapes, both beautiful and powerful. Upon close observation, you will notice that not only nautilus shells or storms, but even swirling water in a sink, cream swirling in a cup of coffee, or curls of hair on your head follow the same basic principle. Forces, materials, space, and time combine to create harmonious balance. Scaling up to the universe, spiral galaxies demonstrate that this pattern is not limited to small environments but extends to enormous scales. The spiral arms of the Milky Way are not fixed objects. They are density waves, where stars move through high-density regions, brightening and slowing, creating the spiral pattern we observe from Earth. Even here, the same principle is present. Energy, gravity, and time resonate to produce a stable yet flexible shape, a giant spiral arm stretching tens of thousands of light years. Delving inside the body, spirals continue to appear with functional roles. The cochlea in the human ear, a small but intricate structure, is coiled to save space and maximize surface area. Tiny hair cells inside respond to different sound frequencies. High frequencies are detected at the base of the coil, lower frequencies at the apex. Thanks to the spiral shape, the ear can decode sound accurately, turning this organ into a silent musician, analyzing and adjusting the auditory world perfectly without needing a redesign. Spirals, whether in organisms, storms, galaxies, or human organs, demonstrate one thing: nature generates complexity from simple rules. No consciousness, no deliberate design is necessary. With just time, matter, and fundamental forces, a harmonious pattern emerges. This also reflects how nature optimizes everything. A spiral is not only beautiful but efficient, conserving material, maximizing energy, and ensuring survival. Flexibility is also crucial. Not all spirals are textbook perfect. A shell may be slightly steeper, a storm may deviate, a galaxy may be uneven. Nature is not obsessed with perfection, but values functionality and adaptability. This is practical yet enchanting beauty, where small deviations do not compromise the whole and sometimes create unique character, a distinct charm. Spirals also appear in unexpected places. Ram horns, seahorse tails, tendrils of climbing plants, spider webs, even DNA strands coil according to the same principle. Each spiral is an efficient solution to save space, optimize forces and energy, and maintain adaptability. Each coil is a lesson in how nature operates, combining optimization, efficiency, and aesthetics. Looking deeper, spirals are like a record of time. When you hold a seashell, you hold the entire developmental history of that organism. Each chamber, each coil is a chapter, recording how the organism grew, adapted, and survived. Observing a storm, you see physical forces performing a similar task on a larger scale. Looking at a galaxy, you recognize ancient yet effective principles repeated over billions of years. Spirals, across all variations and scales, still evoke a sense of familiarity and comfort. Whether standing on a beach observing a seashell or gazing at the sky with the Milky Way's spiral arms, you recognize a wondrous unity. This is not magic, but the result of subtle natural principles, where efficiency, adaptability, and beauty converge in a single shape. It reminds us that nature, no matter how complex, always has its own logic, a logic that is invisible to the naked eye, but perceivable through careful observation and imagination. And in every spiral, from marine creatures to galaxies, from storms to the human ear, we find a lesson in balance between order and flexibility, between logic and art, between time and space. From a tiny chamber of a nautilus shell to the vast Milky Way, spirals are living proof that nature solves problems by combining efficiency and aesthetics, simple yet complex, flexible yet stable, creating stories that unfold continuously across all scales and time. If a snowflake is proof of delicate beauty formed from frozen water droplets, then a soap bubble teaches us a lesson about optimization in nature. Each bubble, fragile and fleeting, arranges itself into a perfect sphere, the optimal shape to enclose the largest volume with the smallest surface area. When two bubbles touch, they softly form 120 degrees angles between their films. Three bubbles create a hexagonal pattern, and hundreds of bubbles linked together can form an extremely efficient geometric network. Even the honeycomb, the product of bee intelligence, follows the same principle. Hexagonal cells conserve material while maximizing storage capacity. Here, we observe something fascinating. Symmetry, order, and efficiency always go hand in hand, even without any human intervention. Symmetry is not only present in inanimate matter, it permeates biology from flower petals, starfish, jellyfish, to humans. Flowers have 3, 5, or 6 evenly arranged petals, jellyfish display radial symmetry, and we humans possess bilateral body symmetry. Symmetry helps with balance, movement, orientation, and even provides information about health and development. The human brain also reflects this. Two hemispheres physically similar yet functionally specialized, creating a balance between order and variation. One could say nature uses symmetry to simplify, but also uses asymmetry to adapt. A crab with one claw larger than the other, a tree growing tilted to withstand wind, these are proofs that in nature, function is always prioritized over form. Let us move from symmetry to more complex patterns, fractals. Observing a coastline on a map, you notice a curious paradox. The smaller the measuring unit you use, the more detail you see, and the greater the total length. Small bays, river mouths, jutting rocks, all the details add up to create an extremely complex boundary. This is the coastline paradox, popularized by Benoit Mandelbrot. The deeper reason is that coastlines are fractal in nature. Their patterns repeat at different scales. Zoom into any segment and you see smaller undulations, continuing down to individual rocks or grains of sand. The chaos on the surface conceals a subtle mathematical order. Fractal structures also appear in river networks. A main river receives water from tributaries, which in turn gather from smaller streams, and the entire system forms a branching pattern that is similar at all scales. This results from physics, gravity and erosion acting over long periods, forming an efficient system for water drainage and sediment transport. All of this is mathematical yet not rigid, flexibly adapting to terrain and environmental conditions. The repeated fractal patterns in rivers and coastlines serve as living proof of the principle simplicity creates complexity, a recurring theme in nature. Fractals also appear in trees and leaves. An oak tree, from canopy to branches, reflects a self-repeating branching pattern. Leaves divide into veins. Smaller veins branch further, optimizing photosynthesis and gas exchange. The canopy creates shade, minimizing light competition with neighboring trees, while the underground root system mirrors the fractal pattern to maximize absorption of water and nutrients. This delicate repetition helps the tree optimize resources while maintaining harmonious beauty, captivating human observation and study. Even within the human body, fractals are present. The circulatory and respiratory systems branch endlessly, from large vessels to the tiniest capillaries, from the main bronchi to small bronchial branches, finally to delicate alveoli. These branching patterns optimize the transport of blood, oxygen, and nutrients, ensuring maximal physiological efficiency. The inner ear with its coiled cochlea, the eye with retina teeming with blood vessels, all reflect the fractal principle: repetition, optimization, and integrated efficiency in form. It is fascinating to realize that snowflakes, bubbles, coastlines, rivers, trees, and the human body all share a common principle: order, symmetry, fractals, and adaptation. At micro or macro scales, nature always seeks to optimize, conserve energy, and simultaneously produce beauty perceivable by the human eye. No consciousness, no artificial design is needed, just physical forces, matter, and time, and everything self-arranges, reflects, repeats, and develops in the most subtle way. Complexity is born from fundamental rules, a quiet miracle that science gradually uncovers, yet still retains its inherent enchantment. Observing these patterns, we do not only see geometry, physics, or biology, we also recognize profound lessons about life: the balance between order and variation, between efficiency and creativity, between repetition and uniqueness. A falling snowflake, a floating bubble, a winding coastline, a meandering river, all remind us that within chaos there is order, within simplicity there is complexity, within the ephemeral there is eternity. And if we learn to observe quietly, sensitive to small details, we see the universe continuously reflecting these principles. Each spiral, each river branch, each flower petal, or each snowflake is a chapter in nature's enormous book, recording how the world functions, adapts, and evolves. Learning from these patterns, humans not only understand nature, but also find rhythm, balance, and inspiration for their own lives. If winding rivers on a map teach us about gravity and erosion, then flocks of birds in the sky, schools of fish in the water, or tiny ants along the ground tell the story of complexity emerging from simple rules. A river seeks the easiest path downstream, cutting through valleys and gradually forming meanders, much like a bird in flight, following no overall plan, yet still producing a synchronized, graceful pattern in the air. Each member, paying attention only to its nearest neighbors, contributes to a whole that is orderly enough to make us doubt that no leader is directing it. In all of these cases, the magic does not come from centralized intelligence, but from the repetition of local rules and continuous feedback. Watching a flock of birds swoop over a wide area, the swirls and wave patterns they create in space are almost hypnotic. No bird takes command. No light or signal guides them. Every motion occurs in real time, based on each individual's perception of its neighbors. Even when one bird turns, the effect propagates like ripples, creating a finely synchronized movement. Each small individual gesture, when combined with hundreds or thousands of others, generates an ordered pattern, as if nature had written an invisible law. And this order, though invisible, is incredibly efficient. The flock avoids collisions, optimizes spacing between individuals, and maintains precise directional movement. Fish operate similarly. In a school, no single fish decides the direction, yet each reacts to those around it, forming a cohesive, fluid entity. A small change at the front propagates instantly, producing circles, arcs, and spirals naturally, like a perfectly choreographed dance, even without a choreographer. Observing these patterns provides vivid proof that complexity does not require an overarching design, only local rules and continuous feedback. This occurs not only in the air or water. On land, ants, tiny creatures that seem chaotic, also operate under sophisticated rules. Each ant leaves a pheromone trail when moving, reinforcing efficient paths, and over many iterations, an optimal movement network forms without a central leader. These pathways not only help ants find food faster, but also exemplify emergent behavior. Complex collective behavior arising from simple actions, reinforced through continuous feedback. Bees, another insect, reflect the same principle. Their waggle dances indicate flower locations to the colony. Each individual contributes local information, yet the overall result is perfect coordination. Even the architectural structures of bees, their hives with sophisticated ventilation systems, emerge not from design but from the simple coordination of thousands of individuals. This rhythm amazes humans, for from simple actions emerges a system that is orderly, optimized, and sustainable. Moreover, these emergent systems have remarkable resilience. A few absent individuals, a bird straying from the flock, or some ants wandering off, the system still operates smoothly. There is no single point of failure, no central controller, yet synchronization and efficiency are maintained. This has inspired engineers designing robots, artificial intelligence, and optimization algorithms. They learn to build distributed, self-adjusting, and robust systems directly borrowed from nature. Even more astonishing, observing these behaviors induces a meditative and profound sense of wonder. A school of fish gliding over water, synchronized flocks of birds, or ants moving on the ground, all are simultaneously chaotic and organized, moving yet stable, creating a rhythm perceptible to the eye but hard to express in words. It is the fusion of order and variation, of simplicity and complexity, of the individual and the collective. Perhaps it is this combination, order emerging from chaos, that makes us feel happiness, peace, and connected to nature. Scientists not only observe, but also model these phenomena, from Boyd's models of bird and fish flocks to ant trail-based optimization algorithms. Even video games and technical simulations draw directly from these principles. Simple rules such as separation, alignment, cohesion, or pheromone feedback are applied to generate complex, efficient, and adaptive systems in real time. This demonstrates that order does not necessarily arise from design, but from the repetition of fundamental rules reinforced through feedback and time. And if we expand our perspective, we see that this principle exists not only in birds, fish, or ants. It is present in every self-organizing system in nature, from snowflakes, bubbles, rivers, coastlines, mountains, to insect swarms and bird flocks. All provide profound lessons. Complexity emerges from simplicity, order arises from chaos, and natural beauty is shaped by fundamental laws repeated over time. And with attention, with observation, we can perceive and learn from these patterns, applying them to life, science, technology, and art. Spontaneous movements, order emerging without control, are not only the story of flying birds or swimming fish. When you step onto a crowded street, you see a similar system at work. People weaving past each other, naturally avoiding collisions, with no reminders, no central controller. Every step, every change in direction, every rhythm of the feet responds to the surrounding environment. Thus, even everyday human behavior reflects emergent principles where order and efficiency arise from local decisions, continuous feedback, and attention to those nearby. When these rules combine with natural rhythm, a subtle and synchronized beauty appears, without any plan or command. Looking deeper, this is evidence of the power of coordinated rhythm, from marching bands, synchronized rowing teams, to flash mobs exploding in collective dance. Each member, each movement contributes to the whole, creating a spectacular effect that no individual could achieve alone. Strangely, the beauty does not lie in the complexity of each individual, but in local rules, simple signals, and the ability to respond to the shared rhythm. By being receptive to feedback and adjusting behavior, one participates in a complex system far beyond the imagination of a single mind. Nature teaches us even more. Honeybees, for instance, create hives with perfect hexagonal cells, a geometric optimization that humans studied for centuries to understand. Hexagons allow maximal storage of nectar with minimal wax, optimizing space and material. But this precision does not come from reasoning, calculation, or a blackboard. It arises from natural biological processes. Bees allocate effort, respond to the local environment, and through repetition, hexagons emerge, a clear demonstration that efficiency and mathematics can exist in the natural world without a central brain. Not only bees, but birds also provide vivid proof of this principle. Migratory birds travel thousands of kilometers, returning to the same nesting sites each year, guided by celestial geometry and the magnetic field. They combine information from the sky, the sun's position, Earth's magnetic field, and visual landmarks to solve a multivariable navigation problem, highly efficiently but entirely without human awareness. Some birds, like crows and parrots, even demonstrate small number counting, predicting outcomes, and solving spatial puzzles. They show that mathematics is not solely a human invention, but a natural method for solving survival problems. Even plants follow a similar principle. Root systems grow fractally, optimizing access to water and nutrients while conserving energy. Roots respond to local conditions, moisture, soil density, chemical signals, and adjust their growth direction. Overall, the system appears pre-planned, although no part of it actually plans. Sunflowers arrange seeds in Fibonacci spirals, maximizing light and space. Climbing vines twist spirally toward light, adjusting growth slowly but precisely. This is emergent mathematics, naturally arising without symbols or equations. Even slime molds, organisms neither animal nor plant, exhibit extraordinary optimization. In experiments simulating Tokyo's transportation system, slime molds created an optimized, efficient network, mimicking the subway system without a central brain. They provide vivid evidence that optimal solutions can emerge from local rules and continuous feedback without anyone designing them in advance. This emergence is not merely a beautiful trick. It is evidence of the universal existence of optimization principles. Whether animals, plants, or slime molds, all solve survival problems, seek resources, move, or build by optimizing behavior according to latent mathematical principles. Fractal branching, energy optimization, quantity estimation, spatial orientation, and geometric patterns. From tree roots to flocks of birds, from beehives to slime mold networks, mathematics and biology intertwine, showing that beauty, efficiency, and order can naturally arise from simplicity. Even animal movement strategies reflect this. Levy flights, combining small steps and occasional long jumps, allow animals to search for dispersed resources efficiently. No conscious calculation is required, yet the outcome is optimal. How bees find flowers, birds navigate, roots expand, and slime molds build networks all follow the same principle. Order emerges from simple local behaviors and continuous feedback, creating efficient structures that a single mind could not design. And when observed closely, we recognize a silent but profound lesson. Mathematics is not just numbers, equations, or abstract theory. It exists in every movement, every structure, and every behavior in nature. It is a way of living, a way of surviving, a way of being efficient. When nature solves problems, from roots seeking water to bees building hexagons, from birds navigating to slime molds optimizing networks, mathematics becomes alive, manifested through behavior and form, requiring no ink or paper. Viewing the world this way, you realize that every movement, every structure, every system is evidence of a profound principle. Complexity and order can emerge from simplicity, efficiency can arise locally, and beauty can be born from rules repeated over and over without central control. Nature is a living equation, and every organism, no matter how small, is a part of its solution.